How special is he, Ilia Topuria?
He could do it all. He could knock you out. He could submit you. That's obviously why he's a champion.
Who's the most annoying?
Conor McGregor.
Da 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 da.
I kind of compare my style to, I would say, Marab, very, very high pace.
What about Christian Rodriguez? Any thoughts on?
I remember back in the regional scene, his name was thrown out there, and it just never ended up happening. And to be making my debut against, tough guy.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, a massively warm welcome to Austin Bashi. Undefeated up against Christian Rodriguez very soon. Austin, great to meet you for the first time. Really keen to find out a bit more about you. How's life in the UFC for you? 23 years old. Do you feel like everything is ahead of you right now?
Good to meet you too, man. Just got into the UFC. September, I made my contender series, had my contender series fight, and won that, and am in the UFC now. But yeah, 23 years old is pretty young, and I have a long road.
Is this what you always wanted to do?
Yeah, since a very young age. I started training at 8 years old, but even before that, me and my brothers always watched UFC fights, and we're always so into it. And it was my dream to be a UFC champion one day.
What was the moment for you? Was there a particular fight or a fighter that you saw growing up?
Fighters we watch were like Anderson Silva, Rampage, Chuck Liddell, people like that. But honestly, it's pretty much right when I started training. I fell in love with it right away, and it was history from there.
You're racking up finish after finish, man, and that's what they like, right? And getting the round two submission on the Contender Series. Is that what we're going to see from you in the UFC? The same?
Yeah, that's the plan, mixing it up, getting some finish from the feet, from the floor, submissions, TKO, trying to get a little bit of everything.
Can you describe yourself as a fighter? Describe your style a little bit?
My style is very, very high pace, I keep a real high pace, and my cardio, I would say, is number one. My mindset and cardio work together real well, and that's where I usually break the opponents in the second round and get the finish.
What is it about you as a person that makes you be able to do this at the highest level? Because not everybody can do this, right? Not everyone has the discipline, the killer instinct, the talent.
Yeah, I would say number one is discipline. It takes a lot of discipline and a lot of hard work to even make it this far. I'm at it every single day, 6 to 7 days a week, 8 hours a day. I literally put my whole life to this. All I pretty much do is literally eat, sleep, and train.
Where are you training and who are you training with at the moment? Can you tell us a bit about your preparation?
Yeah, so like I was saying earlier, I started training when I was 8 years old. And here I am 15 years later with literally the same exact team and the same exact coaches. So we built a 15-year relationship. It's called Warrior Way Martial Arts, and I'll be with these guys till I die.
That's amazing, man. That's super cool. And what about Christian Rodriguez? Any thoughts on when you first saw his name? What's the reaction? How do you see it going?
When he was first offered our name, I was actually very excited. I remember back in the regional scene, his name was thrown out there, and it just never ended up happening. And to be making my debut against, tough guy, he's beat some good guys. Very excited.
And what's it been like so far? Like, do people around the gym treat you differently at all? If anyone stop you in the street in your local town to say congratulations that you made it to the big show?
Yeah, for sure. At my gym, everyone kind of knows that just to kind of make it like another day. But outside of the gym, for sure, a lot of people, when I see them at anywhere, they're always congratulating me.
How do you feel when you're in there? Is it an addictive feeling to compete?
Yeah, that's I live for that, man. Being in that cage, hearing that cage door lock, and just going to war one on one and seeing who comes out on top is my favorite thing to do in the world.
This is the fight business, so how do you understand the meaning of that? For me, it means a whole lot more than just what happens inside the octagon. Is that something that you think about the whole package, the whole business, and what it takes to get to the top?
Yeah, 100%. It's obviously winning the fights is what gets you these next opportunity, but it's everything leading up, and I kind of enjoy, um, the training camp itself, even the weight cut, even though that's the hardest part, that's another thing that takes a bunch of discipline, and then the fight itself, and obviously with all the noise in the back, you gotta kind of be able to handle that as well.
Uh, what do you think of this division? And do you have a goal? You're 23. How long before we see you in the rankings and fighting the biggest names in the world?
This division is stacked, one of the toughest divisions. This division and 135 as well. But I could see myself at the end of 2025 being ranked.
Tell me about the champion. How special is he, Ilia Topuria?
Yeah, Ilya, very, very special. He could do it all. He could knock you out. He could submit you. And that's obviously why he's a champion.
Are we looking at an all-time great in front of us right now?
Oh, you could very well see that. He just beat two greats, Volkanovski and Max Holloway, and he did it pretty easily.
Who's the greatest featherweight of all time, in your opinion?
I was Volkanovski, I would say. He has a bunch of title defenses and has some big wins. Also, I would say Jose Aldo.
When you look at these guys like Topuria, Volkanovski, there's respect there, no doubt. But do you also have to remove yourself and think, I could be competing against them in the next couple of years?
For sure, I respect these guys and what they did, but at the end of the day, in a couple years, I could be fighting these guys. So once it comes down to the fight, I gotta get that respect out the window and just fight a fight.
A lot of guys, they get finish after finish on the regional scene, then they get to the big time and it's different levels. Have you competed against a lot of guys of this level yet, or are you expecting to find out to see how it goes?
So yeah, I've said this in many interviews, and people always told me like when I was 6-0, 7-0, 8-0, why aren't you in the UFC? But for me, it was I don't want to just get into the UFC. For me, it's about getting into the UFC and staying in the UFC, and that's why I had such a long career. And if you go look at my record, I fought some tough, tough people. People with some pretty good records, and yeah, I feel like we did it right, and I'm excited for this next chapter now.
And what else, what do you do outside of competing in MMA? What keeps you sharp? Do you play other sports?
This is all I really do, and during my free time, I'm just hanging out with my family, friends, just go out to restaurants. That's kind of pretty much it.
Any vices, like, for some people it's beer, pizza, women, like something that
Got you. Um, I would say restaurants, just getting away from it all, eating and having a good time.
So after you finish this fight, do you have a plan with your coaches? If it goes really well, is there a couple of guys in mind? Are you the kind of person who would call someone out?
Um, right now, honestly, all I'm focused on is January 11th, and I just take it one fight at a time. You see a lot of people kind of have they're too much in their head and they're thinking about the future and can't even get the job done in test. So right now, just about January 11th.
Do you think the division needs freshening up at all? Like we've seen, maybe some of the older generations start to retire, and Topuria as a new champion has freshened things up. But do you think we need some new guys in that top 15?
Yeah, I feel like there's been a lot of feel like there's been the same guys for a little bit now in that ranking, but now there's a bunch of young contenders, and we'll see what we could do.
Is there any legends that or people that you really look up to that you'd love to fight just out of respect?
I would say it's Max Holloway. That's another legend, another featherweight legend. Uh, he's done it all. He's had some crazy, crazy fights, and he's always in some fun fights.
I mean, his volume, his cardio, his hands, there's so much to like about him and also his personality. Do you see yourself in any other fighters that fans will already know in terms of your style?
Um, I kind of compare my style to, I would say, Marab, very, very high pace, and he's never getting tired. He's always literally on the gas the whole entire fight, whole entire 25 minutes. So that's who I say.
Are we going to see you at 145 or 135? Are you looking at that as well?
No, but it'll just be 145 moving forward. My first 11 fights were at 135. And then, I'm still young. I was growing and I can't make that anymore. So it's 145 from here on out.
Who's the most exciting fighter in the UFC right now?
I would say, Charles Oliveira and Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler's also in some really good fights all the time. And like you seen the fight versus Charles Oliveira, that was a crazy fight they had together.
What do you make of I hear that Who's Charles gonna fight? They have a crazy fight lined up for him. Topuria, I heard, might be fighting him at lightweight. What do you make of that?
Yeah, honestly, I see Ilya getting the finish against him.
Really?
Yeah, yeah,
He's just that good?
he is just that good.
Do you watch boxing or Muay Thai or bare knuckle?
I watch Muay Thai.
I'm out here in Asia. Have you been out to Thailand to train? Is that something that you would do? Just you said you're pretty settled in your camp, but just to get that feeling, is there any places in Thailand or Muay Thai fighters you look at?
So actually, I'm very blessed that I have my Muay Thai coach was born and raised in Thailand, over 250 fights, and was a Lumpini Stadium champion, and that's who I'm training with every single day. So yeah.
Oh, damn. Can you tell us about training with him? What's that like?
Yeah, so his
What's
name
his
is
name?
Mate. He fought during like the golden era, like in the 90s and stuff. And he's super high level, and just to be able to be with him and see how his brain thinks of stuff is he's very high level, and just very lucky and grateful.
You got a lot of nice submission victories on your record. Do you see yourself more as a grappler, or do you just think you're a total MMA fighter?
Honestly, I see myself as a total MMA fighter. You see a lot of submission victories is because people haven't been able to stop my takedowns. And if they do stop my takedowns, then you'll start seeing a lot of my striking playing along. But right now, until they can't stop them, then I'll just keep taking them down and getting the submissions.
I was talking to a friend of mine who's a fighter about managing fear the other day. Everybody's scared, but it's about managing it, right? How do you manage it?
I mean, I get so much of my confidence from all my hard work in the gym, obviously, and all the hours I put in. And I know there's no one putting more work than me. It's either might be putting similar work, but going into fights, I'm never thinking like, oh, what if this guy outworked me? Because I know that's not the case. So that's one of my main things and factor.
Are you like one of those guys who likes to get up and run at 4 in the morning? And Mike Tyson said he likes to run at 4 in the morning, right? Because he knows his opponent probably isn't.
All right, not that early, but we do get up early and train till late.
What's the best way to get that fight conditioning? People have different schools of thought. The Thai way, right? They just like to run a lot.
Mm-hmm.
What's your way?
I do a little bit of everything. I have a strength program, conditioning program, and then also just like obviously training. Um, I'm doing a lot of like Shark Tank rounds. Shark Tank rounds is what we do a lot during our camp, and that's one of the best ways I would say for me.
In terms of what's the hardest thing for you in the gym? Like what's the thing that you maybe dread?
Um, I would actually probably say is what I was just talking about, those Shark Tank rounds. When before I even go to the gym, I'm thinking about those. I'm thinking about how dirty the rounds are about to get.
Is there anything on your bucket list in terms of places you want to compete, like Japan, for example, or at home in Michigan?
Michigan for sure at the Little Caesars Arena. I so I'm Chaldean, and we have a bunch of Chaldeans that live here in Michigan, and I definitely feel like we could fill up that whole stadium for sure.
Has your trainer talked to you about Bangkok at all? Like when it's all said and done, if the opportunity was there, would you take a Muay Thai fight or a boxing match after you finish with the UFC?
I it would be pretty cool to have a Muay Thai fight down over there. One champion always has those fights at Lumpini Stadium. It would be pretty cool.
And we'll wrap up with a little quick fire. So, out of everyone in the UFC, who's the funniest fighter?
Honestly, I think it's Justin Gaethje because he literally is crazy. He doesn't say a word. He's real off, and that's why I think he's funny.
Who's the most annoying?
Most annoying, probably Conor McGregor.
And who's the best dressed?
Best what? Best dressed. Man, I forgot what's that Brazilian Michel Pereira.
Who's the best looking fighter in the UFC?
Let's go, Michael Chandler.
Who would you most like to have dinner with?
Um, Marab.
Why is that?
He's my favorite fighter right now, and he's just actually, you know what? He's the funniest fighter I would say as well. He is the funniest.
What do you like about him?
Everything, his personality, his fight style, just everything he does.
And who's got the best grappling in the UFC right now?
I would have to say Islam.
Best hands?
Best hands. I like Peter Yan style a lot.
Who would you most like to have by your side in a street fight?
John Jones.
Yeah. And you might say this for the next one too, but who's got the best fight IQ?
Yup, right back. John Jones.
Who's the most interesting female fighter in the UFC?
I would say Joanna.
Who is your one to watch in 2025 for the fans? Who should they keep an eye on?
I feel like Jamal Hill.
Oh, damn, really? You think he's going to
Jamal
beat
Hill, yeah.
Yuri?
I think so. And he's another Michigan guy, Michigan man. So I think he gets that done, and then he would probably fight again for the champion against Pierre.
Surely the other one's Austin Bashi as well.
Yes.
Is a world title on your radar one day?
Oh yeah, that's my dream I've been working for my whole life.
Have you got like a plan in terms of, by the time I'm 27 or whatever like that?
I don't really have that type of plan, but right now, breaking the top 15 in 2025 is huge, and then go from there.
Awesome. And finally, if you could fight anybody, past or present, in any weight class, who would it be?
Max Holloway, Max Holloway, out of respect.
Nice, man. Maximum respect to you. I'll be watching your career closely. I really appreciate you joining us, and hopefully we can do it again down the line. Hopefully you get that W, and I enjoyed it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.